Hello everyone. I'm creating this video because I've got a new phone. I gotta figure out where the camera is. There? Yes. Okay, so I'm creating this video because I am sick of having the same conversation. And so as I always do when I'm sick of having a conversation, I'd like to create content so that when someone brings it up, I can just drop it in. And so this video is called We Get There Together or Not at All. And this is in response to some feedback that was given from yesterday's #causeascene podcast, where my guest and I brought up Jewish women. And so I want to give you a very clear understanding of what my beliefs are and what I think about Jews and Jewish women. I am not an anti-Semite. What I am is a truth teller. And if you can't take criticism about the truth that is my experience, then there's nothing I can say to you about that. There's absolutely I could do to whatever. But this is not the first time this has happened. I'm sure it won't be the last because I'm becoming very vocal about, as the Women's March gets closer, I'll become very vocal about that. And so there is maybe a 2-minute segment. If you listen to yesterday's podcast, it's like 13 minutes 50 in. And I'm going to read you because I did a transcript because I was like, what did I say? Because I really don't change. I'm sure my position hasn't changed, but it's always, I say something and people always hear something else. Now I can't help what you hear. All I can do is focus on what I said. So this is what I said. I was talking about, so I was saying, okay, this is going to air right before the Women's March that's having a problem right now. In any organization that is not intersectional in its nature, and that means facing the truths of the historical harm and oppression of your group, whatever that is, may have caused to another group. Just because I'm a woman, if I'm a Black woman and my group of Black people have caused harm to another group of marginalized individuals, I need to own that. It's not my responsibility. I didn't actually do it, but if I'm benefiting from it in any way, I need to own that and give them the space to say whatever they need to say. And this is what is not happening in the women's movement, Women's March, with white women who are also Jewish. Hell, they don't think that they're white. And I say this all the time. To Black people, you're white. And that's just what it is. And white Jews that present as white benefit from privilege. Many Jews who benefit as white have actively gone out of their way to benefit from privilege. I'm looking at you. I'm talking to my guest. I'm looking at you. Are you a white passing? I would never have known that you were Colombian. And I've talked to several people in Latin America where you are considered privileged because darker skinned Latin Americans are the oppressed. Until we can have honest conversations, to be honest about these conversations and say, you know what? I did not. And then I say, I'm not even going to say I did not because that gives you an out because you're still benefiting. I may not be conscious of it, but I recognize that I am benefiting from this, and I don't want to, and I don't want to continue harming others. I'm going to make space for these women to share their stories, and if that makes me uncomfortable, so fucking what? Because you get to learn from that. That is what I said, and nothing about that changes. I look at just today, this past week, Angela Davis has the Birmingham Civil Rights, I think it was the museum, has rescinded an award for her because some prominent Jewish individuals in Alabama railed against her, said that she shouldn't be there, and so they use their white privilege because no Black person could ever have done that. And this is the problem. We need to have these conversations. We need to have conversations about Palestine. We need to have conversations about this Women's March. I can speak only for the Black woman that I know who they keep reporting that she said that that Jewish people I don't know the specifics because I don't have it in front of me, but that's just the truth of what it is for Black people in the United States. We don't go around and say, are you Italian? Are you this? Are you that? You're white to us because that's how it all affects us. We don't have time to sort you out. So if you have an issue with that, then you need to be working very hard to be anti-racist. If you have an issue with that, then you need to be creating organizations and movements that are intersectional. And you need to be making space for those groups of people who say, you know what, your behavior, the group that you belong to has caused my group harm. I need to talk about that before I can even trust you. Because it's all about emotional safety. If I don't feel emotionally safe around you, there's nothing you're going to get from me. So I'm just sick of having this conversation. It's not about me being anti-Semitic, but what it is about every time someone who says something that the Jewish community does not agree with or does not like, they get that label. And that's fine. But that doesn't change what I said. How you interpret that is not my concern. What I'm saying is that Jews in the United States, white Jews, because I'm saying specifically white Jews because they're Jews of every other ethnicity. White Jews, if you can pass as white, you have benefited from white supremacy and white privilege. Whether you wanted to, whether you did anything intentionally to do it or not. And until you can face that fact and allow Black people or those groups harmed by white supremacy and white privilege to articulate that to you, and you say, you know what, I don't like what if you're saying feels like shit to me, but I'm going to sit here because that is what we need to do to get past this. We're never going to get there together. Anti-Semitism is on the rise. We see that. We get there together or we don't get there at all. That's just the bottom line. All marginalized groups are each other. And those who benefit from privilege should be able to leverage that privilege for those and others in their communities and those other marginalized communities. So don't come attacking me because you don't like what I'm saying. It is my truth. I ask you to look at yourself and figure out why you're so triggered and why you can't face the historical accuracy of the situation and your relationship, particularly with Black people in the United States. That's all I have to say. Thank you.